What up? It's your boy King Mumbles. How y'all doing? So this show is why Dave Chappelle says black people make horrible hostages. We're going to be talking about um, basically how black people are viewed, how black people are valued, and we will be speaking on the Brittney Griner situation, but more to how that scenario um, proves the view of how what people think about black people and how they are valued. Um, so we're just going on a moment there. So what we're going to do is we're going to play some reactions to Brittney Griner getting freed, and, and how people worded it and how people presented, and just different things like that there. So I'm going to bring on a shared screen here. All right. So there are a few things that we are going to and discuss on this point here. Um, First and foremost, um, I do want to congratulate Brittney Griner in being able to come home and being able to. I heard that she is looking to get back into playing basketball. So hopefully, in the WNBA, hopefully that goes well for her and everything um, works out fine here. So one of my issues on this is that I was saying um, that this does show a level of basically anti anti-black, anti-woman behavior and mentality. And um, I know some people have been questioning me on that, on where that would come up and how that is possible. So, like one of the examples of the anti black thing is um, the difference, and it's not just in this case, it's in sports when they do papers and stuff with athletes and how criminals and other crimes is the difference in how they describe um, the scenario and they describe you and everything like that definitely shows uh, what's going. So like with Brittany, you know, they kept on showing an anti-American, she hates America type mentality, and which really wasn't the case and was not the defendable there. Like I've put a challenge out to somebody else there, and I can put a challenge out to anybody there. For anybody who's out there that wants to say um, that Brittany is hating America, bring to me the worst thing she's done or said against America. What I will do is I will pull a couple of quotes from Donald Trump of what he has said about America, and I will bet money that you cannot find anything that Brittany has said against America worse than things that Donald Trump has said about America. And I'm not saying you shouldn't say those things. I'm like, at what point is it not patriotic to complain about where the country is lacking. Like, let me actually break it down to you guys on how silly it is. It's even like the Colin Kaepernick. Like, if you look into Brittney Griner, basically, she is a two-time Olympian and a two-time World Cup basketball champion, gotten the gold for United States, representing them proudly. She has said in the future, for international dates, that she will stand for the national anthem and there. However, as which I believe is very American, that as a statement for the NBA thing, and they were questioning on should the national anthem be there, but for the NBA, she is not going to be standing there. And it was for a statement for, I believe it started with in honor of Breonna Taylor, but just for, I guess, the fair treatment of Black people. And I understand a lot, especially of you white people who really don't count that issue as important. So you kind of negate the protests on it and you want that pushed to the side. You know, you can protest as long as it doesn't inconvenience what you guys want to watch. But so, like, during this, she specifically stated, like, this is not a thing against America. She loves her country and everything, but she believes she has to take that stance, which sounds very American mentality to me. Um, her dad is a, a Marine, two-time serving Marine, and now a cop. So still serving there. And through all of that, like, if you watch any of the people um, speaking about the trade, do they um, do they mention how she's an Olympian? So she actually represented the country. Do they mention that she comes from the lineage of Marine? No. Um, do they mention why she's choosing not to sit and how she had specified, you know, specifies her love for the country, but still needs to mm, take a stance for what she believes in and everything. No, they just, oh, she won't sit. Da, 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 da. And my thing about it is, if they're being straight up, why are they not telling you that? Why are they only painting that picture? And then on the other end, we look at Scott Whelan, who they sadly had to leave behind. And it's not like they picked and chose. Russia was not letting him go. So they did have to leave him behind. But what I find interesting is whenever these people are breaking down, oh, this is the worst trade ever and this and that, they only seem to mention that he is a Marine. Um, what they do not ever mention is they never mention um, his this because he is no longer a Marine. He has been discharged, and it was a dishonor. Was doing supposedly siphoning some money, stealing from money from his fellow Marines. So other that I did, a police officer shoots a black person or anything like that, or violence towards them. By the end of the day, we know that, that black person's full criminal history. We don't know of, like, there was no mention by most people the different crimes that he had did there. Like Victor Bout, they did talk about his crimes, and they don't even like 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 even with Victor Bout, um, they don't really get into the details of exactly what he did. What they do is they push and push his nickname, the Merchant of Death, to make him sound super scary. So think about it. So you take Brittney and you make her sound like an un-American, like unpatriotic, hates American person. But when you look into it, you find out that's a lie. You take Whelan and you make him sound like an American hero, you know, fighting in the service. He was a Marine, he did it, and he was, the honor and stuff. You look into that more and you find out that's a lie. And then third, you have Victor Bout, who, the merchant of death, terrorist, da, 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 so so scary. And when we break down some things, you'll find out how much this is okay, this much is a lie. So if he was the most scariest terrorist type out there, when they got the guilty plea, because he was charged with terrorism, the 25 years was the minimum he could get. And the judge gave him a minimum. And if you read, the judge does mention that she believes that what was done with some political motive and stuff. It wasn't done out of a necessity of justice or safety or anything like that. Like some of you guys don't know, like, oh, he was threatening. There was no threat to America from him. They set him up with, like, on a sting operation, like made up a attack on America that they were going to do, and just hired him as an arms dealer. Like, everybody tries to make him sound like he's the worst. Like, with him in jail, it didn't stop any wars. It didn't do anything to the only difference with him in jail is it changes who the people get their weapons from. Like, I'll let you know, because we all know America's arms dealers and stuff like that. I think you can remember, it's not like there was any threat that they had to stop to arrest him. They had to set him up because they didn't have any evidence on him. I think the real reason why America set him up to get him arrested was, one, he used to be in the Russian army, and they wanted to get, for political power, they wanted to get a a, a, a strong Russian person in their prison. And two, because we all know America deals with arms in the Middle East, Africa, and I think Victor Bout was competition that America needed to get out of the way so that they could sell their arms. Nobody wants to arm the people more than America. But he's painted like, oh, he's going to come out now. There's going to be more danger. Like he didn't set up any attacks. He didn't thing. All he did was sell the armament. So, like, why was he painted like? So they made him paint worse. They painted him worse so that they let him go. Then they painted Whelan better than he deserved. Why? So that people would look at him as the honorable Marine, downplay Brittney Griner on who, like, on what she just a basketball, like, made, like, think about it, like, it'd be one thing, like, but they purposely would say the least positive things about, like, positive things about her. Oh, a pot, like, people were literally saying, oh, a pothead who shoots a ball. And what this is a record breaking, multi time Olympian, one of the best basketball players in women's basketball, who has done things that you've never seen before and has broken ceilings. And it'd be one thing like others if she like even had weed to smoke. Like she had like resin and stuff in her pen left over, like that she had forgotten in her bag and stuff like that. Like what is so annoying is that like she wouldn't even have been able to get a good smoke session off of what she had in her bag. Like there's no way like that's she snuck that into Russia. Like like there's no way she snuck. That'd be like they tell you that you can't sneak any food into Russia, and then you ate everything before you got there, except you had a few little crumbs in the bottom of the chip bag, the few little crumbs, and then somebody tried to say that and you just forgot it. Like mm, they're not even willing to look at the discussion logically because what they're trying to do is paint the picture that makes you see this badly. What annoys me is the amount of like I expect the Whitlocks and the Candace Owens type black people, like that are always going to speak bad about it. But some of you regular normal black people are letting these people come at you with this ridiculousness where you are you are joining in on the devaluing of this person's life, and like it's a bad deal when if you stop and you think about it right now, and I'll let you know, if it was one of their daughters, if it was some blonde chick on the team named Kimberly who was over there, they they that they would have done the deal a lot sooner without question, and the media would have changed the whole thing on how she's a victim and how she's a hero and how it's patriotic to go save one of your like it wouldn't have been presented like this. But because she's a woman who's homosexual and black, so basically the ones in power, white men, have have absolutely no use for. It's like their kryptonite, the ultimate enemy. Like, it's like you're a woman and can't even sleep with you. Like, it took away the value, and you guys were joining in on that, devaluing who they were. But if it was if that on that devaluing, like, there, why did they have to lie to you guys in how they presented it? Why did they not why are people not telling the truth that um Brittney Griner is actually a card carrying, proving patriot that loves the country enough that she's willing to fight to make it better? If you want it, like, you can't deny her reasoning. Like, you're going to say that the country's perfect. Like, we have Democrats that complain when the Republicans are in power. We have Republicans that complain when the Democrats are in power. We have this, like like when I'm Canadian, but we're very similar in culture. Of when was critiquing your country considered unpatriotic? Like, who's who presented that ideal and said that that's okay, that it's that like, regardless of how you feel, like, critiquing your country and taking stance on your country is not okay. But it did be okay. Like, all this, should they have traded is one thing, but if you're going to talk about should you have traded or should you have traded, then at least um be honest with the amount of the trade. And then here's the other thing there that I want to question. Um, this isn't the first trade this year. This wasn't the first trade that America had ever done. Like, how is this the first one to get news? Like, how are people not crying and complaining about all the past ones there? Like, exactly. That's what I say, where there's that joke there where about black people making horrible prisoners. And the reason why is, when it's the black person, now you're going to start questioning and counting the values and trying to see and questioning on if it was worth it and stuff like that. Because, and at the end of the day, it's because they value, like, you Americans know about the 3/5 rule, and the value is still down there. There, like, they just present it differently. And, like, so this should not be, like, the page news act like it's the worst thing um going on there. Like, so Let's, let's do if I see like out here. But yeah, even with the Merchant of Death, like so many things, like if you see somebody who keeps on bringing it up and they keep calling him the Merchant of Death, like it's like how is every how like you know his real name? How come you're always pushing the nickname? Always pushing the nickname? And it's to try to spell, oh, change the weight of it by presenting C murder. C murder went to prison. Uh, they kept on referring by his rap name, not his real government name, and they did that because it wasn't the important thing was narrative and presentation. So they wanted to make sure you had that murder, murder, murder in your head. The same thing with the that um more Americans that it is very poignant that people are not truth, they're not whatever, they're caring about being right, what's and the narrative
Of them prisoners as
on the okay. So what we're gonna do? Um, yeah, I'm not able to play the other video here, but basically, I was wanting to show. Nobody else came on, like that. There was a plan of devaluation and on how to and a narrative spin on they broke down this case, how they explained like the information. Like as I said, like we hear all the time the history, the criminal history of people that. How come we never heard any of Scott Whelan's history? Made it sound like he was with the Marines in good standings, honorable, and that's not the case. Why not the truth? Yeah, like 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 don't let please investigate. Don't let like propaganda and talking points control your viewpoint. Don't let, especially if you're a black person, and don't let the media turn you anti-black and against black. Realize we all have the same struggle, and a lot of people will sit there and cry and say, "Why do you have to put black race in everything?" And like my answer to that is because I live in reality. Some of you guys have the pink, some of you guys have the pigmentation that gives you the privilege that you don't have to think about race in every scenario. And lucky for you and proud of you. But however, I live in the regular world. I live in reality where I didn't put race in everything. I just keep my eyes open and realized race is in some way or another in everything. So I'm I'm going to be willing to acknowledge it and recognize it so that it doesn't get used against me. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play some Dave Chappelle on one of the things that inspired me on this is why it's, we make terrible hostages. And it's because if we became a hostage, no one would care other than your family. The system would not care for you. It doesn't happen often. It happens very rarely, but when it happens, it's fucking sweet. Serious. What kind of racism saved my life? I was on a plane.
I was coming from overseas, and how this guy got a machine. He stood up, man. He said, "Everybody, get on the fucking ground. Nobody look at my face." I started freaking out because he was Chinese. I was like, "Why is he talking like that?" Screaming and crying. I was the only brother on the plane. I thought I was the only brother. I looked over, it was one of the black from Nigeria. I looked over at him, he was looking right at my face. I didn't say two words. He just looked. Didn't need to talk. I know just what he's talking about. I looked right back at him. My dude's on the front of the machine and said, "I think save us." We were just communicating. We understood the situation. We were both seeing the same thing. What we understood was terrorists don't take black hostages. That's true. I have yet to see one of us on the news reading the hostage letters. They is treating us good. We all chilling and shit. I'd like to give a shout out to Ray Ray and Big Steve and Jensen Newport. You're not gonna see it. Terrorists are smart. They know what they're doing there. They terrorists. They know what black people's bad bargaining chips. They called the house. Hello. We have got 5 black. Hello.
It's funny, and we all laughed and heard it. But in all honesty, and, and subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know what you think on all into it or any issue that you have with what I'm saying. And we'll be back. This is the Politics of Life, and you're dealing with King Mumbles. And y'all have a good day from the King's Court Network. And we out.